Welcome back to Life Advice for You, where we tackle the truths no one else will. Have you ever noticed how the people around you can either bring joy and comfort or add stress and negativity to your life? Our lives are deeply connected to the relationships we build, both within our families and in the communities we engage with daily. At home, we have relatives, some who bring warmth and support, others who may cause tension. Beyond our front door, we interact with friends, colleagues, and neighbors, forming bonds that shape our happiness and well-being. While relationships can bring joy, companionship, and a sense of belonging, they can also introduce stress and emotional burdens. As we grow older, we begin to see that the quality of our relationships matters far more than their quantity. There's an old saying, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are." This reminds us of the importance of carefully choosing the people we allow into our lives. Not every familiar face deserves a place in our hearts. Some neighbors may seem friendly, but bring unnecessary drama or negativity. Certain family members may carry bitterness, jealousy, or manipulative tendencies that drain our energy rather than uplift us. Sometimes the best way to protect our well-being is to set boundaries and maintain distance from those who disrupt our peace. In this video, we will discuss 3 types of neighbors who may not be worth your trust and 3 types of relatives you should be cautious about getting too close to. By recognizing these patterns, you can create a life filled with more serenity, joy, and meaningful connections. If you find this topic helpful, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video filled with wisdom to guide you toward a happier and healthier life. Part 1. 3 types of neighbors to avoid in daily life. Neighbors play a significant role in our daily lives. They are the people we see regularly, exchange pleasantries with, and sometimes even rely on for support. Good neighbors can become lifelong friends, offering companionship, kindness, and a sense of security. However, not all neighbors contribute positively to our well-being. Some can create unnecessary stress, disrupt our peace, and even affect our mental and emotional health. One type of neighbor to be wary of is the gossip, the one who talks too much and spreads rumors. Every community has its fair share of gossipers, the ones who always have something to say about everyone. These neighbors are overly curious, eager to dig into personal affairs, and most importantly, they love to talk. They don't just share news, they spread rumors, often exaggerating or distorting the truth. What starts as a simple, innocent conversation with them can quickly turn into neighborhood gossip. They thrive on drama, whispering about who argued with whom, who bought what, or even personal family matters that should remain private. The smallest detail of your life, whether it's a visitor to your home, a new purchase, or a casual comment, can become tomorrow's hot topic. Worse yet, their words have the power to create misunderstandings, fuel conflicts, and harm reputations. A harmless joke or an offhand remark can be twisted into something far from the truth, leading to embarrassment or even tension with others. Beyond being annoying, gossiping neighbors can cause real emotional distress. They plant seeds of doubt, make you question who you can trust, and can even turn friendly neighbors against each other. Over time, their influence can create a toxic environment where people feel anxious, insecure, or hesitant to interact openly. While we can't change the nature of a gossiper, we can control how much access they have to our lives. The best way to protect your peace is to keep a polite but firm distance. Avoid sharing personal details, and don't engage in their drama-filled conversations. Instead, cultivate relationships with those who bring positivity and respect into your life. Remember, your mental well-being is far more valuable than satisfying someone else's curiosity. By recognizing and managing our interactions with gossipers, we take an important step toward maintaining a peaceful, drama-free home environment, one where we can truly feel safe, respected, and at ease. 2. The selfish neighbor. Another type of neighbor to be cautious of is the selfish one, the person who only thinks about their own needs without any regard for others. These individuals are always ready to receive help, but rarely, if ever, offer assistance in return. Their actions create an unbalanced relationship, leaving you feeling used and unappreciated. A perfect example is the story of Mrs. Helen, a kind-hearted woman who lived in a small town. She had a neighbor, Peter, who always seemed pleasant, but had a habit of only reaching out when he needed something. One winter, Helen sprained her ankle and couldn't drive. She hesitantly asked Peter if he could pick up a few groceries for her, knowing he went to the store regularly. But Peter quickly brushed off the request, claiming he was too busy. Helen, understanding that people have their own responsibilities, let it go. However, just a few weeks later, Peter showed up at her door with a favor of his own. He needed someone to watch his dog for the weekend. Wanting to be a good neighbor, Helen agreed. After that, Peter's requests became frequent. He would ask her to collect his mail, water his garden while he was away, and even clean his yard after a storm. Yet every time Helen needed help, Peter had a convenient excuse. Over time, she realized that Peter wasn't interested in being a good neighbor. He was only interested in what he could get out of her kindness. Selfish neighbors like Peter take advantage of the goodwill of others, creating an unfair and exhausting dynamic. When one person gives continuously while the other only takes, the relationship becomes one-sided and unhealthy. Over time, this imbalance leads to disappointment, resentment, and a sense of being undervalued. In these situations, it's important to recognize your limits. A truly supportive neighborhood is built on mutual care and respect, not one-sided favors. If you find yourself constantly giving while receiving nothing in return, don't be afraid to set boundaries. Politely but firmly decline requests when you feel taken advantage of. Observe how this neighbor treats others as well. Chances are, if they are selfish with you, they are the same way with everyone else. Maintaining peace in your life means offering help only when it comes from a genuine place of kindness, not obligation. If a neighbor's selfishness becomes a source of stress, it's okay to step back and prioritize your well-being. Letting go of relationships that drain you isn't unkind. It's a necessary step in protecting your peace and ensuring that your kindness is reserved for those who truly appreciate it. 3. The unhealthy lifestyle. Have you ever felt like your own home wasn't as peaceful as it should be because of a disruptive neighbor? While we all hope for a respectful and harmonious neighborhood, not every neighbor values tranquility the way we do. Some live in a way that disrupts the environment, whether through excessive noise, frequent late-night gatherings, public arguments, or even questionable activities like gambling or drug use. Their actions may not always be aimed at you directly, but their lack of consideration can slowly erode the sense of comfort and security that home should provide. These neighbors often show little respect for shared spaces. They might leave trash around, neglect their property, or act recklessly without thinking about how it affects others. Imagine coming home after a long day, eager to unwind, only to be met with blaring music, loud voices, and the constant flow of guests next door. Or picture a neighbor who lets their yard become overgrown and littered with junk, turning the area into an eyesore that brings down the entire neighborhood's charm. Even if they never speak to you, simply living near such chaos can make it difficult to relax and feel at ease. A disruptive environment doesn't just affect your surroundings, it can take a toll on your emotional well-being. A peaceful, clean, and respectful neighborhood fosters a sense of security and stability, while constant noise, disorder, or tension can lead to frustration, anxiety, and even sleepless nights. No one should have to battle for serenity in their own home. So how do you deal with such a neighbor? While you can't change someone else's lifestyle, you can control how much it affects you. If their behavior is interfering with your peace, a polite and calm conversation may help. Sometimes, people don't realize the impact of their actions. However, if your efforts go ignored, it may be best to maintain your distance and set firm boundaries. Protecting your peace is more important than trying to reason with someone unwilling to change. Your living environment plays a crucial role in your overall well-being. surrounding yourself with considerate, respectful people ensures a calmer and happier life. As the old saying goes, you become like those you surround yourself with. Choosing a peaceful and positive community helps keep your home a place of comfort, not conflict. While we all hope for good relationships with those around us, it's equally important to know when to keep a healthy distance. The poet Robert Frost wisely said, "Good fences make good neighbors." This doesn't just refer to physical barriers, but also the personal boundaries we set. By maintaining balance in neighborly relationships, we can ensure that our home remains a space of tranquility, happiness, and emotional well-being. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment yes below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Part 2. 3 types of relatives to avoid. Family holds a vital and irreplaceable place in our lives. These are the people we share blood ties with, grow up alongside, and experience both joyful and difficult moments together. Ideally, family relationships provide love, support, and a sense of belonging. However, not all family connections bring comfort and peace. In some cases, it is precisely those closest to us who cause stress, conflict, or even take advantage of our kindness, leaving us emotionally and financially drained. As challenging as it may be, recognizing which family relationships are unhealthy and knowing how to set boundaries is essential for maintaining your well-being. One type of relative to be cautious of is the borrower who never repays. Money has long been known as a source of tension, not just among friends, but within families as well. A relative who borrows money with no intention of paying it back can put you in a difficult position, breaking trust and straining the relationship. No matter how strong the family bond, when money becomes involved, it can change dynamics and create emotional burdens that are hard to repair. Take Mrs. Lauren's story as an example. She had a cousin named John who was constantly struggling financially. Out of compassion, she lent him a substantial sum to help him pay off debts and start a new business. John promised to return the money as soon as things improved, and Mrs. Lauren, trusting in their family bond, believed his word. But as months passed, not a single dollar was repaid. Instead, John came up with endless excuses. "The business isn't stable yet. I'm waiting for some money to come in," or "Can you be patient a little longer?" When Mrs. Lauren finally pressed for repayment, John responded with irritation, accusing her of being inflexible and lacking empathy for his situation. Their once close bond became strained, and Linda felt deeply betrayed. Meanwhile, John failed to recognize that his dishonesty and irresponsibility had eroded not just his credibility, but also the trust that held their family relationship together. What is the lesson here? Never let money ruin a relationship, but also don't let family ties turn you into someone who is easily taken advantage of. Helping a family member in need is an admirable act, but lending money without clear expectations or principles can lead to regret and broken trust. Before agreeing to lend, set clear conditions, such as repayment timelines or alternative ways they can compensate you, to ensure fairness. If a relative repeatedly borrows and avoids repayment, it's important to reassess the situation and consider maintaining some distance. How should you handle this type of relative? If they have been unreliable with money, have an honest but gentle conversation. Let them know that while you want to help, financial matters must be handled responsibly by both sides. If repayment isn't an option, consider other non-monetary ways to offer support, such as helping them find better financial solutions or guiding them toward responsible money management. Most importantly, recognize your own limits. Don't allow guilt or obligation to drain you financially or emotionally. 2. The self-serving relative. Did you know that studies show people who maintain balanced, give-and-take relationships tend to be happier and less stressed? On the other hand, one-sided relationships, where one person constantly gives while the other only takes, can lead to emotional exhaustion, resentment, and even anxiety. And unfortunately, these imbalanced relationships don't just happen with friends or colleagues, they can exist within families too. One type of relative to be cautious of is the self-serving one, the person who only cares about their own needs and interests without considering your emotions, efforts, or sacrifices. To them, relationships, even with family, are transactional. As long as they gain something from you, they stay close. But the moment you need support, they disappear without a second thought. These relatives are quick to reach out when they need a favor, financial help, or emotional support. They might call frequently when they need something, visit when it's convenient for them, or even act overly affectionate when they expect assistance. However, when the roles are reversed, when you're the one in need, they suddenly become too busy, uninterested, or dismissive. Their lack of reciprocity turns the relationship into a draining, one-sided burden rather than a source of comfort and trust. Maintaining a relationship with a self-serving relative can be emotionally exhausting. You may find yourself constantly giving, whether it's time, effort, or resources, while receiving little to no care in return. If you hold on to the hope that they will change, you may face ongoing disappointment. In many cases, selfishness is deeply ingrained in their nature, and expecting them to suddenly become considerate will only lead to frustration. So what's the takeaway? Family relationships should not be built on expectations, demands, or one-sided benefits. A healthy, happy family bond is based on mutual care, support, and appreciation. No matter how strong family ties are, a relationship that leaves you drained and unappreciated is neither fair nor fulfilling. To deal with such a relative, you must establish firm boundaries and protect your emotional well-being. Make it clear that your kindness is not an obligation, but a choice, one that should be built on mutual respect. Learn to say no when their requests become excessive, and don't hesitate to distance yourself if their behavior repeatedly proves selfish. While family is important, it does not mean sacrificing your peace of mind for those who take without giving. A strong relationship is built on fairness, respect, and shared effort. If someone consistently prioritizes their own needs without caring for yours, maintaining distance and setting clear boundaries is the best way to protect your happiness and create a more peaceful life. 3. The lazy and dependent relative. Did you know that constantly supporting someone without encouraging them to be independent can actually do more harm than good? Studies have shown that when people are given everything without being expected to contribute, they lose motivation, develop a sense of entitlement, and never learn to stand on their own. This is especially true in families, where the instinct to help can sometimes turn into a lifelong burden. A lazy and dependent relative can be emotionally and financially exhausting, especially when you find yourself carrying their responsibilities on top of your own. Some family members seem to believe that it's easier to rely on others than to take charge of their own lives. Instead of working hard or trying to improve their situation, they depend on relatives to provide for them, sometimes for years, even decades. At first, you may feel sympathy, wanting to help them get back on their feet. But what happens when they never even try? Take the story of Mr. Joe, a hardworking man who had finally retired and was looking forward to enjoying his golden years in peace. He had a son, Adam, who once had a steady job but was fired for slacking off. Instead of taking responsibility for his actions, Adam moved back in with his father and began living off Mr. Joe's pension. Days turned into weeks, then months. Adam slept in, avoided chores, and showed no interest in finding work. Every expense, from groceries to utility bills, fell on Mr. Joe's shoulders. One day, Mr. Joe made a startling discovery. Adam wasn't struggling like he claimed. Instead of using the money wisely, he had been spending it on video games, expensive takeout, and outings with friends. But what truly broke Mr. Joe's heart was overhearing his son brag to a friend, "My dad takes care of everything. I just stay home and enjoy life." He even worries about my future, so I don't have to. That was the moment Mr. Joe realized his kindness had backfired. What he thought was support had actually encouraged Adam's laziness. His son wasn't grateful, he had become entitled. Mr. Joe wasn't helping him grow, he was keeping him stuck in a cycle of dependence. And the worst part? Adam had no intention of changing. This is the hard truth. When kindness turns into indulgence, it doesn't help, it enables. There's an old saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Real support isn't about providing for someone endlessly. It's about guiding them toward independence. If you're dealing with a relative who expects everything but gives nothing in return, it's time to draw the line. The first step is setting boundaries. Let them know that your generosity is a choice, not an obligation. Encourage them to take responsibility for their own life instead of leaning on you for everything. And most importantly, don't be afraid to say no when their requests become excessive. Some people will never step up if they know they can always rely on someone else to carry them. It's never easy to turn down a family member, but protecting your own well-being is just as important as helping others. If your support is making them more dependent rather than stronger, stepping back might be the best gift you can give them. True kindness is not about carrying someone forever. It's about teaching them how to walk on their own. Life is too short to let toxic relationships drain your happiness, whether it's a selfish neighbor, an irresponsible relative, or a friend who only calls when they need something. The people around you have a direct impact on your peace of mind. Have you ever noticed how spending time with positive, uplifting people makes life feel lighter? On the other hand, being around those who constantly complain, demand, or take advantage of you can leave you feeling drained, stressed, and even questioning your own self-worth. This is why it's so important to choose your relationships wisely. Some people bring joy, encouragement, and stability, while others bring chaos, negativity, and endless demands. It's okay to distance yourself from those who don't add value to your life. Relationships should be built on mutual respect and care, not guilt, obligation, or one-sided effort. If someone continuously takes without giving or drains you without ever lifting you up, it may be time to step away. Letting go isn't easy, especially when it comes to family. You may feel guilty, or you may worry about hurting their feelings, but ask yourself, is this relationship adding to my life or taking away from it? If the answer is the latter, it's time to set boundaries. As the poet Robert Frost once said, good fences make good neighbors. That wisdom applies to family too. We all want strong, meaningful connections, but not every relationship is meant to last forever. If someone is constantly bringing negativity into your life, whether through selfishness, irresponsibility, or lack of respect, choosing to let go isn't cruel, it's necessary. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you, respect your time, and bring peace into your life. At the end of the day, you deserve to spend your time with those who truly value you. What's been your biggest challenge in setting boundaries with family? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Philosophy of respecting yourself. Letting go is sometimes the best way to protect yourself. But letting go doesn't mean cutting people off completely or acting out of resentment. Instead, it means keeping a healthy distance, freeing yourself from unnecessary stress, emotional burdens, or unhealthy dependence. It's about making the choice to prioritize your own peace over relationships that bring more harm than good. While this decision can be difficult and may come with feelings of guilt, remember this: achieving balance and happiness in life often requires letting go of what no longer serves you. At the heart of choosing relationships wisely is knowing how to respect yourself. When you truly value yourself, you naturally attract better relationships, ones built on mutual respect, kindness, and sincerity. Healthy relationships should bring peace, not exhaustion. Good connections are based on honesty, mutual care, and support. not on constant demands or one-sided effort. If someone consistently takes advantage of your kindness or makes you feel emotionally drained, learning to say no is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect. Surround yourself with people who bring joy, who show up when you need them, and who respect your boundaries. Only by valuing yourself can you create relationships that bring true peace and fulfillment. Life is a series of choices, and one of the most important is deciding who you allow into your space. If a relationship helps you grow, nurtures your happiness, and aligns with your values, it's worth keeping. But if it brings constant stress, negativity, or imbalance, then stepping away may be the best decision. When you prioritize your inner peace, you naturally build a life filled with meaningful and uplifting connections. There is a powerful lesson hidden in an ancient story about a simple stone. One day, a young monk approached his master and asked, "Master, what is the true value of a human life?" The master smiled and replied, "Take this stone, clean it, and then bring it to the market to sell. If someone asks for the price, don't say anything, just hold up 2 fingers. If they offer to buy it, do not sell it. Bring it back, and I will tell you the answer." The next morning, the young monk did as instructed and brought the stone to the marketplace. As he stood there silently, a woman approached and asked, "How much for this stone?" The monk held up 2 fingers. $2, she guessed. The monk remained silent. "How about $20, she offered. "I'd love to use it to press pickles." Surprised that someone would pay for what he thought was just a regular stone, the monk shook his head and took it back to his master. The master nodded and said, "Tomorrow, take the stone to a museum and do the same." The following day, the monk placed the stone in a museum, and soon a visitor stopped to admire it. "How much is this stone?" they asked. The monk raised 2 fingers again. $200? the person asked. "No? Then how about 2,000? I want to carve a sculpture from it." Stunned, the monk once again returned the stone to his master. Smiling, the master said, "Now take it to an antique shop." On the 3rd day, the monk brought the stone to an antique store. The moment he placed it on the counter, people gathered around, eager to see it. A customer asked, "How much is this stone?" The monk raised 2 fingers. 2,000? the customer asked. Seeing the monk shake his head, they continued, "Then how about 200,000? This is a rare piece. I must have it." The young monk, astonished, hurried back to his master and breathlessly told him what had happened. The master listened patiently, then said, "My child, the value of a stone depends on where you place it. At the market it was worth $20, at the museum, $2,000, and at the antique shop it was worth $200,000. The same stone, but different environments." The story of the stone is more than just a lesson in material worth. It carries a profound truth about the value of human life. Just like the stone, your worth is not fixed. It changes depending on where you place yourself, the people you surround yourself with, and how you see yourself. If you position yourself in an environment that uplifts, respects, and appreciates you, your true value will shine. But if you remain in a place where you are overlooked, undervalued, or taken for granted, your potential may never be fully realized. Beyond the external environment, this story is also about self-perception. The way you see yourself directly influences how others see you. Confidence, self-respect, and knowing your worth allow you to position yourself in the right places, places where your talents, kindness, and presence are recognized and valued. You are not just defined by your skills, knowledge, or background. Your value is also shaped by your choices, where you invest your energy, who you allow into your life, and how you perceive yourself. If you want to live a fulfilling, peaceful life, surround yourself with those who uplift you, respect your time, and bring out the best in you. I sincerely thank you for taking the time to reflect on these lessons. I hope these messages bring you comfort, clarity, and inspiration to live a life filled with joy, peace, and meaningful connections. Always remember, you have the power to define your own worth. Choose your environment wisely, build relationships that nurture your happiness, and never settle for anything less than what brings you true peace. If you found this message helpful, like to help spread positivity, and comment below with your thoughts or any insights you'd like to share. Share this video with your loved ones so we can all work toward a happier, healthier life together. And most importantly, subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more valuable content made just for you.